Oh yes. Oh yes. It's a must. Got to. Listen. Come on in the room. Come on, family. We got a step coming 2025. What's up, hello? How y'all doing? Hey, Beth. Thank you for the gift, fam. Hey, thank you for the gift, fam. Yes. So you can step into. Hey. Hey. Thank you for the like, fam. Thank you for the share. Hey. Come on. We getting into it, family. Woo. You have to work your dreams. It starts when you move. And once you get it done, just keep on moving. I love it. Thank you for the like, fam. We're getting ready to get into our book. Let your feet take over. While your eyes stay focused on what's ahead. Step into your next. Don't let nothing stand in your way. Hey. Hey. Step right, step left, and walk in your greatness. Pick them up, put them down. Slide and progress. Kick left, kick right. Hey. Yeah, like you know you have success. Step right, step left, pick them up, put them down. Hey, kick left. Hey, fam. Woo. Come on, step into your next. Thank y'all for the like, fam. Thank y'all for the share. Keep on stepping. All right, I'm trying to figure out where we going today. We can go back through. Yeah, so that was the one of my singles. We're gonna release that in 2025. Step into your next. So we got two songs that we got to release. Manifesting My Dreams, uh, Step Into Your Next, and there's a plethora of other songs, but we're gonna get it done, fam. So we're getting back into our book, Astrology of the Moon. We've been talking about the progressed moon sign. Thank y'all, fam, for getting us to 10,000 likes. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for the gaming thumbs. I appreciate y'all so much. Appreciate y'all so much. So we can either start talking about the progress moons through the houses, or we can take another sector of the progress moon through the zodiac. And what I was reading the first go around was the section about the true north, like where it's taking you. But then there's another section with the progress moon. No, we did the turning the tide, basically like what it's about, leaving from one zodiac to another zodiac. And we can approach your true north, which kind of talks about where you're headed. So would y'all rather go another round through the zodiac, or would we rather go around to talk about the progress moon through the houses? Thank y'all for the share. Thank you for sharing. So, do y'all want to go zodiac through the houses, or not zodiac, the progress moon through the zodiac one more time, just another section, or should we go progress moon through the? Good morning, Ling. Sorry I didn't see you there. Ling on YouTube. Hey, 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 Grand Rising. Let's see. Any takers? Anybody want to vote? If not, I'll just pick. I'll just pick, and we'll just go. We'll just go. The second option. Okay, let's go through the houses. Let's go through the houses. Okay, so we'll go through the progress moon through the houses. All right, and if you don't know through the houses, okay. So if you don't know your, we're going progress moon through the houses. So if you don't know where your progress moon information is in my bio, if you have your time of birth, you can hop out this live, go to my profile, click on the link. It says progress moon. You're gonna put. It's gonna be a section for you to put your date of birth. Then it's gonna be a section for you to put your time of birth, and there's gonna be a section for you to put your state, your city and state, or where you was born. And then you're gonna click on calculate, and then it should generate a list of like your progressed moon signs for like the next probably 20 years, I think. So your progressed moon, and then you want to make sure that you have like do it for 2023 and beyond, just in case you're like in the middle of a progressed moon cycle. Because if you put 2024 and you're in the middle one, it'll just start you in 2025. Okay. So I would do it from 2023 so that you can have where you are just in case you're in the middle. It's all good, man. So we're going to progress moon sign through the houses. All right, let me get it. Let me find it. And I think currently I'm in the 6th house. So let's get into it. Let's get it. Okay, so progress moon through the 1st house. All right, turning tide. As a caterpillar goes, well, let's get this quote real quick. Progress moon through the 1st house. You will never possess what you are unwilling to pursue. Woo! That's a lesson for everybody. You hear me? You're in the 10th? Okay, bet. Let's see if we can get through all of them. You will never possess what you're unwilling to pursue. Mike Murdoch. As the caterpillar goes through the process of becoming a butterfly, it undergoes total metamorphosis. Its old form literally dissolving to create the new form. When it first breaks out of its chrysalis, it is vulnerable. The butterfly wings do not function yet. It has to wait for them to dry and for enough blood to circulate through them that they can move and build up strength. Hey, Ren. As you begin to emerge from the internal and external shifts and changes that you experience through your 12th house progression, you are moving more fully into the new beginning that was promised when you entered the cocoon over the past 2 years or so. You may feel that you have either recently experienced a rebirth or are doing so now. However, a rebirth is quite an ordeal and can even be quite disorienting. You may be asking yourself, what now? We humans tend to get ourselves into commitments and routines in life that sometimes we long to be free of. But it's one thing to wish for freedom and quite another suddenly to experience it. As you enter a first house time, there's a feeling of trying to get your bearings. The roads are wide and open and go in many distractions. While this can feel ex, exhilarating on one hand, you may also feel overwhelmed by options. So this is giving like new beginning. And that's yes. All right. So that is for the first time, progress moon. Let's get into the Second house. Progress moon through the second house. It's a funny thing about life. If you refuse to accept anything but the best, you very often get it. Ooh, these quotes. I'm telling you. In the first house, you had a chance to throw everything you thought you knew about yourself up in the air. And now, as it starts to land, it's time to ask yourself, what can the new me do? Some people find this time in their life kicking off with some kind of shakeup in their financial life. A second house time often deals with the issues of money, and although we'll see that it's about much more than that, people tend to notice money issues in their life when they are threatened with shortage. It may not be due to a negative occurrence, whether someone loses a job, takes a second job, gets a promotion, or even find their family expanding. All of these situations prompt us to start thinking about how we create and sustain income, which is often the doorway into the second house experience. And if you're just getting into the space, we're talking about your progress moon. And your progress moon is your emotional evolution every 2.5 years to 3 years. Okay? And this is the moon in the second house, which breathes the energy of Taurus. Okay? Outside of financial woes, doubt about general security and even confidence may come up at this time. You may start to feel more protective of your established situation and leery of anything that threatens to change your status quo. All right, let's get into the third house. Progress moon through the third house. The quote, I shall not commit the fashionable stupidity of regarding everything I cannot explain as a fraud. Carl Jung. In the movie Short Circuit, a robot named Number Five is struck by lightning and develops a personality and self awareness. Number Five is alive. What a popular phrase for that movie, but equally memorable was a phrase uttered repeatedly by Number Five soon after his transformation: need input. You're going to feel a little like Number Five being born as you enter a third house progression, although without the actual electrocution. You're going to most definitely need input in great amounts, and it will start flying at you from all directions. Internally, you may find that your mind seems to be chatter more than usual, and you may have difficulties getting it to quiet down when you want it to. Ideas and thoughts will be racing through your head faster than usual, and you are easily distracted. Output may also increase at this time as you get busier and find more things you want to do, places you need to be, and people you need to connect with. The third house has an element of communication to it. So, an increased interest in speaking as well as listening is likely now. All right? So, that's the third house. So if you're going through these houses, as we're going through these houses, and if you know your progressive moon sign, this is an opportunity again for you to use this information. How am I planning 2025? If I know my progressed moon sign is going through the first house, and I'm in this Aries energy, how am I getting into the newness of what I can be? Because the doors are open for me to really reestablish that, maybe even rebrand myself with this new identity, right? All right, that's the third house. Let's get into the fourth house, family. How y'all doing? If you don't know who I am, hey, let me just say, hey, what's up? My name is Titus, singer, songwriter, sound healer, and spiritual life coach. This is our metaphysical Bible study hour where we're talking about progress the moon. Your progress moon is all about how you are evolving emotionally every 2.5 to 3 years. If you don't know your progress moon sign, Information is in my bio. All you gotta do is click the link, put your date of birth in, and it will give you your progressed moon sign. If I had a time machine, what does that mean? I'm assuming it's I don't know what that means. Go back in time? I'm trying to figure out what that means. What's up, everybody coming in the room? I hope you guys are doing well. All right. Progress moon going through the fourth house. Please explain what that means if I had a time machine. I want to know. Okay. So the fourth house, the pace you've been setting for yourself while in the previous third house progression has been exhausting you for some time now. As you enter the fourth house, as you enter the fourth house, in a third house progression, there are so many lines cast out and reeling it all in. Sorry, in a third house progression, there are so many lines cast out and reeling it all in. In the fourth house, you seek what lies within. Just know I'm going back for you. Okay. I don't know what that means. It went over my head. It's all good. All right. The fourth house is typically called the house of home and family. Some people kick off this progression with a pressing need, either internally or externally, to increase their interaction with their family or deal with family matters. This could be all over the spectrum, such as family business that comes up from elderly members passing away or new members coming in. Uh, what is this? I'm going to say it. Hey, Bree, thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. Nostalgic feelings about your childhood or even an interest in the history of your family, such as your ancestral lineage or the history of your country or religious heritage, right? So this is the fourth house. Whatever circumstances prompted, you'll become interested exploring where you came from. So again, this is your progress moon going through the fourth house. If you don't know what that is, check on the information in my bio, put in your time of birth, all your information, and it'll let you know where your progress moon is and what is the energy, what is the lessons that you could be learning emotionally over the next 2.5 to 3 years. All right, let's get into the fifth house, progress moon. What day is it? It's today. Squeeze Piglet. My favorite day, said Pooh. The turning tide. In the fifth house, as you move from the fourth house to the fifth house, it can be like stepping outside after being inside your house all week. A breath of fresh air and a desire to get there and play. The fifth house represents, among other things, the things we do in life for fun. Many people find this progression kicking off with new playmates suddenly coming into their lives, a new romantic partner, children, or long lost friends. The fifth house carries traditional associations with children, and while we go further to uncover the deeper meaning about the fifth house association with children as a metaphor for creation, it can also literally mean the entry of children in your life. Several clients have found themselves with a child somehow present in their life during this time that wasn't there before. Most often, instances like becoming involved with a partner who has a child or ending up having family members who move closer to them and being more involved in their nieces and nephews' lives. Metaphorically, the idea of youth correlates with the sense of being carefree, spontaneous, where we don't worry so much about what others think or want from us. All right? So that is going through the fifth house. Let's get into the sixth house. Sixth house. It's only possible to live happily ever after on a day to day basis. In the sixth house, all play and no work is apparently not fulfilling indefinitely. Because as your moon progresses into the sixth house, you may feel the desire to sink your teeth into something of substance. The sixth house is one of the three earth houses that deal with the practical elements of hands on contribution and engagement with the world, the others being the second and tenth houses. The most recognizable way we do this is through work. The obvious 9 to 5 kind that we call our job, or the less obvious but no less important or consuming tasks that we may or may not get paid for. Essentially, anything you spend your days doing that isn't strictly about having fun, but is about the maintenance of your life can be the sixth house territory. Whether it's running errands like grocery shopping, cleaning the house, working your way through a honeydew list, or working at your place of employment. Since many of us find ourselves working for a living, this progression often has us focusing on issues at work, such as our working environment or whether or not we like our job or find it worthwhile to do the things we do. Some people may also find the beginning of this passage marked with simply more work to do, tasks begetting new tasks, and life getting busier in general. All right, that's for the sixth house. And I know I'm kind of speeding through this, and we can always catch a different section. But okay, so progress moon through the seventh house. The quote: Each friend represents a world in us, a world possibly not born until they arrive. And it's only by this meeting that a new world is born. During the sixth house progression, you are evaluating your working life, but that included a healthy dose of during the sixth house progression, you are evaluating your working life, but that included a healthy dose of evaluating yourself as well. Now the focus shifts to other people in your life, people that have a significant influence on you. You may notice a heightening of your awareness of significant others, whether it's all the negative traits about them that drive you crazy, or gratitude for them being in your life, or both. The term significant other here applies to anyone in your life. Sir Jiggy, we are reading from Astrology of the Moon. So we're talking about progressed moon signs. And again, just to recap, your progressed moon sign is how your this particular moon is going through your houses to assist and support you evolving emotionally. Okay? And if you don't know what your progressed moon sign is, again, there's information on my link tree. You put in your date of birth, your time of birth, and then it will give you where your progressed moon sign is. Hey, Harold, thank you for being here. All right. So, with the seventh house, we're in the seventh house. The term significant other here applies to anyone in your life that you have a meaningful one-on-one relationship with. So this can be a close friend, a romantic partner, or even a business partner. It will typically not apply to the dynamic between parent and child unless the child is grown. Thank you for the gift, fam. And there's a level of equality in relationship between you and your parent or child. Some people may find this progression kicking off with changes in their relationships, such as meeting someone new or breaking up with someone. These situations can and often do arise from inside of you, but your awareness of relationship issues in your life might actually come to the forefront when your partner says or does something to indicate they are not happy or need some changes to be made in the relationship as well. All right. I would encourage y'all to check like where is your progressed moon sign, what is the zodiac, and what house is it in. I think this would alleviate you being anxious about how life is unfolding, especially if you're going through the seventh house and you're irritated that your partner is acting some type of way. It could be an opportunity for you not to be as irritated and more about, okay, what do I need to learn right now? What is the lesson that is because it's coming up for a reason? Like I take this stuff as a tool, and I'm gonna pause and say this because I was talking to Carter yesterday, and somebody called me out of nowhere, and I was like, "This is interesting." At first, only to be reminded that um, because we are in Mercury retrograde, I was made aware that people of the past may just pop up, and I was like, "Interesting." So instead of like blowing them off, I was able to hold space for them because in the research I was doing about Mercury retrograde and people coming in at this time, they could be coming to get something that they need. Like for this situation, I felt like they needed a place to talk or to be around some positive energy. So, just something for you guys to just consider when using this as a tool. All right. So that's the seventh house. All right. Let's get to the eighth house. And Beth, if you're still in the room, this will be right where you are. So in the eighth house, the progression shifts the focus from the other back to the self in the deepest way. You may feel an increasing heaviness where life seems more intense and things happening around you feel grave and serious. You may feel a desire to withdraw, as is often the case when we enter the water signs or houses, because your inner world is the scene of the action now. If you are already impatient with superficial interactions and conversations about the weather, you're going to be impossibly fed up now. Any irritation and impatience you may be experiencing at this progression begins as this progression begins may actually quiet down when you give yourself a little silence and peace to process your feelings. Your fears seem to be closer to the surface of your consciousness. This may be in a direct, obvious way, such as anxiety or depression, or an indirect way, such as intense dreams or nightmares or confrontations with experiences and people that trigger disquiet. Heightened sensitivity to an awareness of the dark side of life can arise. So you might find yourself horrified and fascinated alike with the news or with circumstances around you that aren't exactly made up of puppies and rainbows. The sign on the cusp of the eighth house, as well as the sign through which your progressed moon is currently traveling, can tell you more about the nature of your fears and what they stem from. All right. So again, this is your progressed moon going through your eighth house. Progress moon going through the ninth house. All right. So, quote, a mind that has been stretched will never return to its original dimension. Albert Einstein. The turning tide. After the heaviness of the eighth house progression, the most obvious change you will feel is a lightening of spirit. If you did your eighth house work, you cleared out some boxes in that basement of the underworld, and with a little less emotional baggage, you are ready to throw the rest in a backpack and see what's out there in the world around you. Some people find this progression kicking off shortly after an event in their lives that leaves them a little more free and flexible. The eighth house progression is often a time when things change, when things leave our lives, whether it's simply some emotional baggage or an actual person. A friend of mine found himself freer and literally able to be more mobile after his aging mother passed on. His mother had been living with him and needed such constant care that he and his wife found it difficult to leave the house together for more than 2 hours at a time. When his mother passed on, uh, my client grieved, but afterward he found himself desiring to stretch his leg again. Eighth house meaning eighth house sign in the, so eighth house meaning the eighth house, not the sign but the actual house. So when we're talking about the zodiac, every zodiac governs a house, right? So you have your zodiac sign, but then you also have your house. All right, so think of it like this, like the house is the place in your life that is being dealt with. So the eighth house again is about secrecy, intimacy, things of that magnitude. Other people's money is the eighth house. So the ninth house deals with basically getting free and being free after doing the deep work. All right, let's get into the 10th house. Oh no, you good. This type of information, it takes practice, it takes rereading, it takes understanding because it can be a lot. So again, you have your 12 zodiac signs, but you also have your 12 houses. All right. So the zodiac is more so about the particular thing, and then the house is like the area that the thing is operating in. Okay. So with the 10th house, this well-known house of career may or may not bring career development as you enter this progression. Cool. The 10th house is the area of life where we focus on the roles we are playing in our lives and community, however we define the word. It's handy when we get paid for the roles we serve, but to think of the 10th house as career is too limiting. Anything we can do, anything we do can be a 10th house role. 10th house roles include husband, mother, activist, Democrat, council member, local Girl Scout representative, or even the lady that bakes great cookies for the neighborhood every year. While there is certainly more to you than being a spouse or baking great cookies, during this progression, the role you play will become more important. Some people find themselves changing hats or acquiring new hats during this time, whether it's due to promotion or simply a lifestyle change. For instance, it's not uncommon to see people having babies or getting married during a 10th house progression. Whether you're taking on a new role or evaluating the ones you already have, you'll be considering whether or not they're a good fit for you. All right? And that's with your moon going into your progress moon through the 10th house. Progress moon through the 11th house. The quote, ask God how much time do I have left? And God replies, enough to make a difference. Author unknown. I like that quote. During a 10th house time, you need to focus on your own achievements and life direction. And the 11th house progression can have you carrying that mission a bit further and to a broader audience. One of the first things you may notice is an increase in social opportunities. This may be because they are actually increasing or just because you are noticing them more. However, most people think of friends when they hear the word social. And this is not so much about friendship in the intimate sense as it is about camaraderie and networking. There's something in you that is ready to get out there, and interacting with people on a large scale is a primary way to do that. You'll start to notice more of a focus on where your life is going. This could be because people or situations seem to be asking it of you, like the completion of one thing, like graduation, prompting the question, where am I going next with this? Achievements were the key in the Achievements were the key in the 10th house, but now it needs to get bigger and grow. Long range goal setting, and questions of your life direction in the largest sense possible can arise now as you get a sense of the future that could unfold. All right? And then progress moon through the 12th house. And I quote for this house. And again, everybody that's new here for the first time, hey, my name is Titus Glenn. I'm a singer, songwriter, sound healer, and spiritual life coach. And this is the place where we're having these conversations titled Metaphysical Bible Study. Just to, well, it is Metaphysical Bible Study in the sense that this stuff can be, this information can be attached to scripture, ancient texts, however you define the book. All right? Progress moon through the 12th house. Growth demands a temporary surrender of security. The turning tide. During your 11th house progression, it was time to be out there in the world, getting involved and making connections. The answers may have been found more easily by interacting with the world around you. But now the answers that you find out there will start losing their significance. Now, what seemed to pull you in and stir your sense of purpose seems a little like a silly circus or a puppet show. It's not that what you've been doing or what others are doing is not important, but there is a sort of growing detachment from external dramas that is arising in you now as the inner world calls again. Some people find events arising in their lives during or while entering a 12th house progression that initiates a sense of loss or disorientation. This may be something involuntary, such as the loss of a loved one or a significant possession, such as a home. It may also be voluntary and even something to be looked forward to, such as someone leaving the corporate world to stay at home with their children or write a novel. Can I summarize what was shared during the sound bath? So that is the I lost my train of thought. Sorry. That is the progress signs, the progress moon signs through the houses. Just a taste of what that's like. Okay. I can definitely. You still in the room, Mr. Sharpie K? Are you still in the room? I want to make sure you're here before I go. If we need to address it. Okay. Were you in the live? And if y'all have any questions about the progress moon, let me know. And the progression I'm still expanding upon. But if you have any other questions, let me know. Were you in? Were you in? So you were in the live. Okay. So if what I don't know where to start because I wasn't expecting this question. Oh, let me go back and revisit what you asked. Can you summarize what was shared during the sound bath? I don't know what you can you tell me what you heard or give me a synopsis of what you heard so I don't repeat it. If that's even possible, if you can, because there were so many things that were talked about this morning. Because we talked about cheating, we talked about self-awareness, we talked about projection, mirror projection. Okay, so essentially what we talked about and what we were coaching about is that everything is a mirror. So we were having a conversation with the individual who was saying that they had been hurt and everybody take people kindness for granted. And I was offering that what they were saying was really an indicator and is in my experience and what I've seen in my own life is an indicator of what's going on the inside. So essentially, everything that you say about somebody else is essentially what you are feeling about yourself, especially when it's in a negative connotation type of way. So people Being unkind is really about you not being able to set boundaries with yourself, and that you don't have enough self-love to be able to align yourself with people that will love you in the manner that you deserve to be loved. So instead of attracting yourself to that, you attract yourself to people, places, and things that give you opportunity to pick you, and you continue to create opportunities that mirror back to you how you feel about yourself. Thank you for the gift, fam. Let them cook. Come on. So, and the best summary possible that I can give you is that everything is a mirror. Thank you, Una, for the follow. So if you're talking about women not being good, or women not being good is everybody hate me, and or I keep on giving myself away, people keep on doing this, what is really happening is that you have not created a boundary. You have no self advocacy, right? And there's some issues that might need to be worked through concerning how are you showing up for yourself. You're welcome. Did you have a question about that, me Sharp K? Did you have a question about that? And did anybody have a question about this mirror talk? Because it is a conversation to have, especially when you want to do some healing. And I wouldn't say quick healing, but more so when the quickness is about you not being bothered with other people. Because I feel like you being bothered with how other people are showing up is really a delay in your own healing. Ooh, that is a. Let me say that again. You being bothered about how somebody else is showing up is really a delay in your own healing. Because how this is how Paul Ferrini said. Paul Ferrini said that pain is our wake up call. And I just added that your frustration is a close second. So at any given moment, if you're frustrated about anything, ooh, now this is a good one. Hey, this is a good one. Um, but just to rebel that other thoughts, anything that the mirror image is showing you something with yourself. So again, the same thing apply. As an empath, someone who's dealt with, I think there's levels to this, right? There's levels to this. Empaths who are attracting empaths who are attracting narcissists, this is the truth. It don't change. There's narcissism lurking within you. And most of the times, let me just speak for me. Because when I was attracting narcissists and I was irritated by their behavior, it was really a lesson that I was learning about me not loving all that I am. Honestly. Or the negative self-talk that I was continually continuing to experience. So the narcissist was showing up in a way that I was not really tapping into my divinity to really stand in the truth of who I was. Prime example for me was being in a relationship with someone who was manipulative, or who was not taking what I wanted into consideration, or discrediting what I was saying I really have to sit with where am I discrediting what I'm telling myself, or where am I not following through, and where am I lying to myself? So I think being an empath and you attracting a narcissist, if they're lying, like begin to break apart. Like where is this showing up? Because that they are legit a mirror to you. And if you're saying something, you may have to re-say it because our big brother TikTok is moving the comments in a way that they're filtering. I don't know what they're filtering because true healing requires this. I don't know how else to say it, and I know there's a lot of conversation about narcissists. But I think there's another piece to say that there are levels that the narcissist is hurting that might need to be treated, diagnosed. But if you are attracting them and you are still irritated by their behavior, it's something that's happening on the inside of you. Because true healing, and maybe I would even say the completion of that cycle, affords you the opportunity to be more compassionate. And it don't mean necessarily that you got to hold space for that individual if you're not in that vibration of holding space, but it does afford you the opportunity to see that they are in their shenanigans, and you're able to disconnect from being triggered and bothered by them. Did that answer your question? Oh, cool. I believe that my father was want his child and grandchildren get into relationships with them. Yeah, we can only we what I'm learning, we only attract not what we want, but who we are. Who we are. Interesting. You attract them at work. Interesting. And I think it's all about this is for me, and this is what I would teach. If you're irritated by something, then that is your work. So if you're attracting them at work, what is going on in your career that you need to pay attention to? What is going on in your workspace that if they're irritating you by way of speech or showing up or saying one thing and expecting you to do another, what is going on in your career that may need to be addressed so you can create something else? We attract what we create. As for me, I need to create something different. Absolutely. And you have the opportunity to do that as soon as you become self-aware. Now you can do the work. I love my work. They want to discredit me. Interesting. Okay. Okay, that's okay. So if we want to break this down, and I could be wrong on this. Sending prayers up. The truth will always come out. Listen, truth will always come out, especially when they're dealing with people that lie and all that stuff. So love and light. I love my work. They want to discredit me. This is something to digest. I wish I had. I don't know if you're able to come on and have a conversation on a. Okay, well let it come up and out. But I think if it's happening at work, if you love what you do, then I would want to know. And this is just a conversation. See if I can bring you on. What's popping? What's W fit? What does that mean?
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Hey, hey.
Awesome.
Thank you for hopping in.
I appreciate the invite.
Okay, so talk to me. You say. Oh, thank you, popping. You say that you attract narcissists at work.
I realized years and years later, I attracted my first narcissist in high school.
Okay.
She went so far as to sleep with my boyfriend, which was her cousin.
Interesting.
It was wild.
Okay.
Again, back then I didn't know what a narcissist was.
Okay.
I have been attracting narcissists at work. I realized for years now. Again, I wasn't aware, but I'm now aware, and I noticed the pattern of my siblings, even my father's grandchildren attract narcissists. My son married a narcissist. She's violent and narcissistic. Two of my brothers are married to narcissists. Two of my sisters are married to narcissists. And again, these are my father's children. And even though I barely knew my father, I think about what I do know about him. He could have been narcissistic.
Okay. Okay.
And he was a married man, but he had children with my mother, with at least 4 other women.
Okay.
And within the past few years, I started paying attention to the people that find themselves in my space. They want to destroy me or antagonize me, and I was confused about it. I'm like, what is the problem? And I start examining these patterns, examining the relationships that I've been in, and examining the relationships of my siblings. And I'm like, this is narcissism. And again, it's a very popular term these days, but I genuinely believe that my father, this is about the sins of sins of the father are passed down to the son. I know that's a Bible scripture. I don't go to church. I'm not a Christian. That's not my belief system anymore. I was raised that way, but I have a personal relationship with a power greater than myself. And I understand that we are here to learn, teach and learn.
Absolutely.
And I've been working in substance abuse since 2006. I love my work, and because of my relationship with a power greater than myself, I ask questions and I get answers. And today, I understand that narcissistic personality disorder is a diagnosis. Again, I'm a addiction counselor, so I have a little knowledge about it, but I'm talking about on a spiritual level. I'm talking about on an energetic level. I understand that empaths and narcissists are on a spectrum.
For sure.
I keep hearing that, but I want to know specifically, because I've come to believe these things, what am I supposed to do with it? I'm starting a new job on January 6th. I always am able to either point out a narcissist. They find themselves in my space and they want to antagonize me. They want to discredit me. They want to diminish what I bring, because what I bring is truth. What I bring is authenticity. What I bring is genuine compassion for people. And the more compassionate I show up, the more they want to eliminate me. And I want to know, I can't figure out what, and I heard what you were saying earlier. From what I understand you to say is, you want me to discover, and that's my question. Why am I drawing these people in? because I've learned to gray rock them. I have learned to uh, not feed into the bullshit.
Mm.
Because one narcissist complaint was, she won't talk to me and she won't listen to me.
Mm.
And I felt so empowered by that, because that proved to me that their antagonism was purposeful.
So
Correct. I know
here's
that you're trying to fuck with me. I know that you're trying to do these things, and I will not give it power.
so here's the thing. This is what I would say.
Okay, I'm
Because
listening.
if you're because what I hear you say is that it's a pattern for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you go if you leave one job and you go to another, it's as if that you're coming up with the same situation. Is that accurate?
That has been a pattern, yes.
Right. So this breeds ground to really look at the common denominator.
Yes, that's me.
Right. And so I would offer to sit with everything that you say about them.
Mm-hmm.
How can you relate that on a personal level? So if you're saying they are antagonizing or not being willing to listen or whatever that looks like, where do you do that? If not at work, where do you do that to other people?
Where
Or
I'm not willing to listen.
where you're not willing to listen. Because the whoever is showing up is giving you an image of what you do, especially if it's a repetitive pattern.
Let's see. Her complaint about me is that I won't listen and I won't talk to her. Yes, that was intentional, because I was aware of her trying to antagonize me.
Antagonize you. What does that look like?
Um, just constant complaints, trying to tell me what to do. I, microaggressive behavior, talking over me when I'm talking, trying to compare herself to me publicly. Um,
And so, okay, so in that, did you give voice to what you was experiencing in that space, in that conversation?
in that space, um, in that space, I believe she was sleeping with the owner.
No, that wasn't the question. The
Oh,
question,
sorry. Go ahead.
the question was, did you voice what you were experiencing with her in conversation with her, such as, hey, I this is how I operate. I feel like I'm being overlooked. Did you explain to her where you was coming from, or did you just shut down and not deal with it?
I didn't. Um, you said overlooked. I didn't feel overlooked. I viewed that she was antagonizing.
But did you have a conversation with her to express how her showing up was impacting you?
I did not.
Okay. So another I heard this the other day, which I totally agree with. A narcissist can also show up to an empath to teach them how to operate in their power.
Okay.
Okay. So you not dealing with it is legit giving your power away.
Okay.
So you ignoring her, you thinking that's a power move, but it's actually a passive aggressive move, which leads to you not being authentic to who you are. So the narcissist could be showing up to give you more opportunity on how to stand in your authenticity, regardless if they're in the room.
Hmm. I never looked at it that way because I understand that narcissists are masters at how they talk and how they manipulate and how they move.
They're only masters to people that are not aware of themselves.
Okay.
So when you are aware of who you are, you then can see when the narcissist is trying to shame, blame, and shift.
I do see that.
Right? So you can see that. So if you're dealing with a narcissist, you can know when they're trying to gaslight. But but well, let's say and when you're dealing with them, you know how to stand the truth of who you are without backing down, without shutting down or feeling like you can't talk. You know when to talk, when not to speak. You know what to give them and not to give them. But for you to completely shut down alludes to the fact that you don't know how to stand in the truth of who you are, which is why you could continue to attract them.
I'm trying to. I'm connecting with what you're saying. I wouldn't say it was a shutdown. I would say, in my view,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm open to what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
In my view, if I know, if, specifically, if I know you're narcissistic and I see how you operate and I see how you treat others, it's very obvious that you're a nasty, just demonic spirit.
But it also, well, here's what I would say, because it sounds like you're also bringing into your past situations into the next situation.
I'm
and
listening.
and it sounds like you're reading people and judging them based upon the experiences that you have, and now categorizing everybody based upon what you've seen in the past. And
Everybody?
everybody, because if you're saying that every time you go to somewhere else you meet a narcissist, it's also possible that you're categorizing people based upon unhealed things that you've encountered from past people, that you're now attaching it to how people move in your future, in your now. And so instead of
I
addressing them where they are in the now, you've already created a story based upon your past, which only intermingles and frustrates the entire experience.
well, I would not agree with.
Okay.
I would not say that Mr. Glenn is a narcissist. I would not say that such and such is narcissistic unless I saw those
Well, that's what
behaviors.
I'm saying. This is so you just confirm what I just said.
Please
So
say it again
so
so I
when you
can get it.
so when you see certain things that reminds you of narcissistic behavior, your brain automatically tells you that this person is narcissistic. And so, any type of behavior that reminds you of certain things that you haven't healed through, now you categorize that individual or that circumstances as you're dealing with somebody that's narcissistic. Because however they showed up or whatever thing they did triggered something in you. So now you've labeled them and now you treat that individual in a way that you don't have to deal with it.
Hmm.
So, for a prime example, this situation with your coworker, you've
Okay.
already labeled her a narcissist, but you did not give opportunity for conversation, and you only based what you saw without giving her a opportunity to explain where she was coming from.
This okay, I'm open to that, but it's not based on one or two
But
interactions.
you've never had a conversation with her.
But I have had conversations
But
with
you
people and they
with people, but not her.
okay, when during this conversation between me and you, I'm examining two different people,
Okay.
and I'm I'm recognizing how they operate with not only me but others.
Okay.
So it's not that I don't have significant evidence of how they treat others and how they behave and how they move.
Mm-hmm.
Or else I would say, well, anyone who has a negative behavior is narcissist. I don't believe that.
Okay.
I don't believe that at all.
Okay.
So again, it's not only one interaction with me or one situation with me, oh, this person's a narcissist. I have recognized how particular individuals operate with others,
Mm-hmm.
how they treat others, how they move, how they uh, lack integrity, how they lack authenticity, how they lack genuine compassion for others. So it's not just one. Or we had a huge blowout. This person's a narcissist. No, it's not as simple as that.
Okay.
And again, I have connected particular dots, taking me back to my origin and
Mm-hmm.
my father and how his womanizing and certain things that my mother communicated that he said, and he had a whole wife and all these children, and I'm like, where does this come from that myself and my siblings attract these people, and it's generational. It's
So
not just it's not just um, his children, his grandchildren.
so this is so layered. Okay, so I'm gonna try
Yes,
to
it's
unpack
very
it.
layered.
I'm gonna try to unpack it as best as I can because again, the coworker that's in the now. I think that's the reason. Maybe I don't know if that's the reason or not. I think
Okay.
there's opportunity for you to give her an opportunity to explain where she's coming from because I feel like that particular situation, because of what you've seen in the past, she's now has a label on her. That's what that feels and sounds like. These other situations, if they are true narcissists and they keep on meeting you at your front door,
Mm-hmm.
again, it's an opportunity for you to stand the truth of who you are without backing down.
Okay.
Now, these family members, if it's coming up in the bloodline,
Mm-hmm.
I will go ahead and say also that if it's happening in your bloodline, more than likely you guys as a generational thing have not been taught boundaries.
Okay.
And
I'll,
when
I'll, I'll
when
take that.
and if you haven't been taught boundaries, um, it's going to bleed over into insecurity. So you're attracting narcissists because they bring you in because you guys are looking for validation versus learning how to affirm yourself. You are now in a trauma bond.
Yes, that's exactly what. Yeah, I don't. I don't believe. Let me think about that. Uh, I'm thinking about my intimate relationships now that you're speaking.
Well, if you're in relationships, and if you're in relationships, any intimate relationship,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to bring up the hardest things for you to deal with because they're bringing to the cell to the level to the surface the intimate part of what you need to deal with to be healed to your highest capacity.
Right.
So any relationship that you can think about, any trigger that was exposed in that relationship, now it becomes a question again you can ask, did I do the healing work and through that relationship so that I don't attract another experience like it?
Yes, I understand that. Hmm. And I see that someone said yes. I never believed in generational curses until I started paying attention. And thinking about what you said, I didn't see myself as um, backing down. I saw myself as gray rocking them, meaning um, because I constantly watch these videos. Well, I have watched these videos about narcissists being masters at gaslighting and word salads. So I'm interpreting that as, oh, okay, you can't beat them at their game, but being silent is the key. So that's why I was being silent. Oh, her thank God, her complaint was that I won't talk to her and I won't listen to her, which told me, yes, you're trying to control me, but you won't.
But how can she control you when you have not given her opportunity to just even have a conversation?
This person did not. Okay, I'm talking about another person now. This
But you're,
person didn't deserve my energy.
but okay. So now you're going. So it seems like you're going back between two stories, right? So I'm dealing with. I'm talking about the individual that you said did not let that said that you did not give them an opportunity to talk. In that situation, you've already labeled her a narcissist, and you have not given her an opportunity to even have a conversation with you.
Okay, I'm gonna give more details. Okay, the recent narcissist was bold enough to bully our supervisor. And even though I was told that, I was able to see how she moved. I was able to see how she operated. I was able to see how she treated our clients. So I had evidence of that. I had listened to her and how she communicated and how she treated other human beings. So it wasn't that, again, I'm not just saying, oh, this person's mean today. She's a narcissist. So help me with that
Okay,
information.
bet.
How I
Let's
want to
get it.
connect with what you're saying. I'm not
Hey, big mama.
connecting.
Okay, so there's so many judgments going on. So many, and so even in this particular situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many questions that I would ask, but first I wanted to address that somebody treating somebody else's way. That is that I think there's a lot of things to consider, right?
Okay.
I understand that you shouldn't disrespect your supervisor, but I also am aware that sometimes we take and treat people according to how they treat other people, and it might not be necessarily fair if they have not did anything to us. I think there's another opportunity to investigate again. If somebody was disrespected, did you pull the other person to the side to maybe give shed light or shed love on how that could have been worked through better? Or did you dismiss and not deal with it because now you've already in your mind entitled them a certain way, which again will go back to you're running into, because the conversation is leading to where you keep on attracting them.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's another opportunity for you to step into your power by way of having a conversation, by way of calling things out. Not whether she here or not is not your business, but it's still an opportunity for you to stand in your power and the truth of who you are.
So what I hear you say is I am to confront the narcissist.
Well, I would, me personally, this current situation, I
Mm-hmm.
think I think you're entitling them a narcissist without even giving them opportunity to even have a conversation. So, and again, which goes back to what we was talking about, because of your past experiences and because of what you, I guess, are hearing on YouTube and all these channels, when you see certain things based upon how people are treating other people, you've coined in your mind that this individual is a narcissist, right?
Well, I'm also familiar with the DSM, so
Okay. So even with that, even with the DSM and all that, the
Okay.
spiritual truth is this: that every person is here to learn a lesson,
Yes.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
even in that, when you are encountering a narcissist, there's an idea and knowing in the spiritual knowing that this narcissist has a plethora amount of hurt that they are not dealing with,
Yes.
right? So if
Yes.
I'm encountering them, if I am encountering them, the question now becomes, what lesson am I learning? Because whatever they do is my lesson to learn if I'm irritated by it.
Okay.
So you judging them is really a judgment that you're making about yourself as well. Because that's their lesson to learn. But you judge them to the point that you don't want to deal with them. When when in reality narcissists might actually need a bigger space for healing that most people cannot hold for them because they are not really that self-aware themselves.
Hmm. I'm processing what you're saying. I'm really processing what you're saying. I have to ask a question though.
Okay.
Have you ever dealt with a narcissist?
Yes.
Okay.
And when I dealt with the narcissist, what helped me was that the judgments that I placed on them are really the judgments that I place on myself. For example,
Okay.
the narcissist that I was dealing with was really angry. And I wasn't really an angry, I didn't think I was an angry person until I
Mm-hmm.
had to sit and be coached like this to realize that there was anger in me that I didn't want to deal with. It was only showing up differently.
Hmm.
And we, in our mind, think that anger shows up one way when anger could be passive aggressive.
Yes.
So again, the narcissist is a mirror image, and your refusal to see, or here's a refusal when you judge somebody is really a refusal to see yourself.
Um. Okay. I hear you now saying, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah,
that I need to have more compassion for the narcissist.
absolutely.
And I can own that. I can absolutely own that I have zero compassion for narcissists,
Mm-hmm.
particularly when they're acting out. I have zero compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I have actually said that narcissists deserve each other,
Mm-hmm.
and I have coined myself the queen of compassion. But when it comes to these individuals, I really do. I struggle with having compassion for them
Right.
because their desire is to cause pain, and
That
they
that's
do.
that's 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 a people only hurt people because they're hurting themselves.
Right.
So I don't think it's necessarily a desire per se, especially when we tap into the spiritual world of us being here to learn a lesson.
Okay.
And I think the real issue is judging somebody else and trying to label how they're learning their lessons and then not wanting to deal with them because of how we feel about the lesson that they're learning.
Okay. You're absolutely correct about that. I don't want to deal with them,
Mm-hmm.
and mm, this leads me other places. Again, I've been an addiction therapist for years now. And I have the utmost compassion for people who struggle with addiction, people who struggle with anything. I have a compassion, but narcissistic behavior, I have zero.
And I think it's something, and I could be wrong on this, but I just want to offer this if it's okay to offer. Is it okay?
Go ahead.
I think, in this space, I think something to explore. Are you addicted to this type of behavior at work?
What do you mean?
Because sometimes when we are recreating something mentally on a conscious level, we might be addicted to it because to explore something else, like a healthy relationship at work, is really unfamiliar.
What do you
So
mean addicted to their behavior?
it's almost like being addicted to an abusive relationship. And you don't know you're addicted, but you
Please
just
connect that dot. How am I addicted to their behavior?
because you're recreating it. You're recreating the situation to where you're quote unquote attracting narcissists, no matter what job you go to. So, like Shah said, you going to is familiar. So now it can be. I mean, you might say it's uncomfortable, but it has to be comfortable enough because you're recreating it. Because I don't know if you're familiar with A Course in Miracles, but it's an
I am.
okay. But so the ACM says nothing comes to me forbidden to me that I have not approved of.
Let me think. I'm connecting. I'm self examining. I'm addicted to attracting narcissists.
It's an opportunity to look at it.
I wouldn't say I'm addicted to attracting narcissists. I would say that I would lean to, I wouldn't call it addiction. I don't know if
So
I
what is
connect with
making
that.
you what so if we don't call it addiction, there's something there that you're recreating it,
I agree.
right?
Yes.
So when I say addiction is more so it's familiar, so it continues to show up, and it's like a in lack of a better word, like a cozy blanket because you're used to people acting like this.
Hmm.
Because there's also an awareness to really put if not awareness, maybe that's not the right word, but putting it getting it into your subconscious mind to attract something different is to even say I deserve something better, or I deserve to be in a work environment to where I can speak freely.
And absolutely, I have said that for years.
Hey,
If I
Alicia.
can have peace at home, I deserve to have peace at work.
Absolutely.
And I have said that. Why can't I can have peace at work. I can have peace at work. But I do believe that there's a lesson to be learned. And I also agree that I have zero compassion. And maybe that's it. But saying I'm addicted to narcissists, I don't connect with that.
Well, that I said I could be wrong. I did say that at first.
Okay, and I was open to
And so
exploring that.
it is.
I'm open to, and that's why I probably showed up on your page today and agreed to step into your live because I want to see what I can't see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
If we're constantly having these situations, there's something that I'm not. I agree. There's something that I'm not seeing about me.
For sure.
And I've heard I've heard empaths say all the time, and I think someone on your feed mentioned that empaths attract narcissists. I'm like, why? So again, I began to explore this, my origin, my history, my family. I'm like, this is a pattern we all have. And I agree with you. Boundaries is an issue. If you're accepting toxic relationships and poor behavior in your relationship, That's a boundary issue. So my thought was, okay, I'm gonna gray rock these people. I'm not going to feed into their word salad. I'm not gonna feed into their gaslighting. They won't they won't get my power in that way because they want a fight. It is clear that they want a fight.
But
So
the question now becomes though, you gray rocking and you're still attracting to them. That gray rocking is not working.
okay.
So it can't be the gray rocking. It has to be two things that we discussed about. Either you learning how to operate in your authenticity and your power, regardless of who's in the room, or
Mm-hmm.
you showing up in a way to be compassionate for people that have irritated you in the past.
Okay. Okay.
And I think and again, maybe addiction is the wrong word, but there's
Mm-hmm.
something there that you're recreating it, and that could be the addiction to chaos at work, or the heated environment at work. Whatever that thing is, it's there
Mm-hmm.
enough that you're recreating it.
Okay.
And the way that our ego works, the ego, because there are so many people that are addicted. For example, there are people addicted to lack. They don't know they're addicted to lack,
Mm-hmm.
but it keeps on showing up in the way of not having enough.
Well, I would not use that word addiction.
Mm,
I would agree that it's a comfort level.
okay.
I would agree, not really maybe a comfort level or a um, familiar.
Okay.
This is familiar, therefore, there's something I really need to work through in order to eliminate. Because, yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
this is a pattern. I'm like, what the F? What the F is going on that
Right.
I have connected with these people who want to behave this way, who want to destroy others, who want to oppress.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
But I think
hmm,
even in that language, we give our power away
okay,
because them doing it to us, whatever they do, has nothing to do with us. They're doing it to
to
themselves.
themselves,
So
yes.
if they are quote unquote trying to oppress me, it's more so where am I oppressing myself, or where am I giving my power to a thing that I would even care about what they doing?
Okay, okay, thank you.
You're my pleasure.
I mean, again, I want to see, I want to connect because, again, I'm starting a new job in
Okay.
January. I don't want to carry what I'm carrying into the new space.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that I lack compassion for narcissists.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I lack compassion, and I need to change the language about them.
For sure, Alicia. Yes, changing the language about them, and before you get to the job, you might want to do just offering to do the work, or maybe with the coworker that you've already shunned off. Maybe it's a conversation to say, "Hey, you know what? I didn't give you the opportunity to speak, and I will like and you could be vulnerable, but you this takes you being aware and self aware, and say, you know what? I need to have this conversation. Let me share that in my past, if you are comfortable with doing this, in my
Mm-hmm.
past, I've had experiences with people that I did not have space to speak. And so I've categorized you as somebody I could not speak frankly with. So, but I do want to get clear and maybe provide an opportunity to hear where you were coming from. And that's an opportunity to maybe clear that up before you attract the same thing onto your next job.
Mm.
And this is also going in if you were to do that conversation with no expectation. Not going in trying to change her mind or what she's going to do differently, but to get that weight off your chest so that you can move accordingly.
Mm, I'm processing that. I'm thinking about what that would look like.
Oh, for sure. And that's just, you don't have to do it, but
Again, I'm open, so I'm considering what that would look
and the
like.
only reason I say that in this particular situation is because from what I hear, you did not give her an opportunity to even clean up where the offense came when it came to you. I'm not talking about with other people because it sounds like you have judged this person based upon how she was showing up to other people as
I
well.
just, as well as what I saw, as well as how she was communicating.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not interested in talking to a racist.
Okay, so you labeled her. So there's
Yeah,
there's there's
yeah,
there's
that's a fact. It's
that,
not.
but
That's a fact.
so
I'm not, because I don't believe that I will be heard because of the color of my skin.
how powerful do you think love is?
Most powerful thing there is.
So if you led with love, what difference do you think that would make?
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
I'm
Interesting.
gonna let you sit with that.
I appreciate this.
I'm gonna let you sit with that. But this is what it's like to be coached by Titus Glenn. If you ever want a one-on-one, you can always check the link in my profile.
I appreciate this.
My pleasure. Okay, I'm gonna
Yes.
let you marinate on that.
All right.
All right, you have
Thank
a
you.
good one. All right, amazing conversation. This is what I love to do. But I think we learned some valuable lessons in this space, family, just in these conversations. Like oftentimes, and I've done it. I've done it. I was in the conversation with my best friend last night. My pleasure. And if it helps you, you can always send a donation to $ Titus Glenn, Cash Out, Venmo, PayPal. If this hit home in the room, you just send a donation. But I had this experience last night with my best friend because I was judging him based on an old pattern versus giving opportunity for me to voice how I was feeling. I was finding myself running away and not addressing it. And if it continues to happen, it's something to stop and say, what am I doing that's recreating this? And if I find myself shutting down every time something happens, or if I find myself not speaking up quicker, or because we are always evolving, and what somebody did yesterday they might not do tomorrow. But what I feel like society teaches us is to label somebody and then now stick in that element of they ain't gonna never change, when what is really happening is that we've made a decision to not change how we view those people. Whew, that was good. Holy Ghost, that was good. And in this, we get stuck in unforgiveness of them and ourselves, versus creating a boundary. This is what I deal with. This is what I can't deal with. But I never erase the opportunity for you to change, because you can change if you so do the work. There is what mental health professional or whatever his name is, mental health, who is a diagnosed narcissist, but he's changing people's lives because he's doing the work. And you never know what somebody's going home to, that they might come back tomorrow and be able to say, you know what, I'm working on that. And I think oftentimes we go and we label and we do things, and we project out When the true issue is we are the ones that are not willing to do the work. And like I said, love always wins. So if I have a conversation with love, I'm not expecting for you to change or do anything with. But the conversation that I have, if I need to have a conversation, is so that I can be free of anything that I'm holding against you. And to create and possibly create opportunity for healing to be felt on both accounts. Because it's quite possible that if somebody's been labeled in the office, they're frustrated because everywhere they look, people are already labeling them based upon what other people seen or maybe even their own experiences. So now there's no opportunity for change, growth, or evolution because we already have labels. We good, fam? That was good. Thank you for letting me in your energy. Una, if I said that right. And especially when we like this is why, this is why I when I think about just even the whole just narcissist labels, all those things, when you get Una, okay, cool. When you get into this type of healing work, everybody got their own story. Everybody got their own story. Everybody's here to learn a lesson. And if you label people, then I feel like that limits them in how they're able to evolve. Because that racist could be your best friend tomorrow. If you're willing to lead with love, you might be the example that they need to see that what they learned is not accurate. But just something to consider. I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. All right, family. Okay, that's been our coaching. We did some astrology today. We did some coaching today. Y'all got any questions before we hop out? Any more questions? Anything else coming up? But this was good. Ah, oh my. Yeah. I think again, the greatest thing that I'm learning about life is that everything is a mirror. And if you have a divine irritant, is if you have a let's say divine irritant because it's coming up for you to get healing, and that other person, the coworkers I judge, it's a healing opportunity. You ask me, it's a healing opportunity because it affords you to see where you need to heal, but it also holds space for you to see where that person is wounded without you being affected. Because that racist has been taught something about life, and that's how they are moving. But that doesn't mean that you have to meet that racist or person, narcissist where they are. But it's an opportunity for you to stand in love. Like, this is my boundary. No, you can't talk to me like that, but we can't have a conversation. And if you can't talk to me in a healthy way, whether it's client, family member, friend, this is my boundary. And because you continue to test this boundary, now I have to shift to create peace, to create love, to create harmony within myself, as to not allow you to to dismantle my peace. Hmm. I think that's something to sit with. Something that's definitely something to sit with. What is coming up? Why is that coming up? And Devda, why is that different? Why is that different? So yeah. And if you want to unpack that again, link is in my bio. I love what I do, love what I get to do. So I appreciate you guys. I'm getting ready to hop out. I'm like really, I'm like amped. Like this, like the conversations like this, coaching like this, like legit feeds, fires me up. And so, yeah, I thank you again for letting me in your energy. And we'll sing our song when we'll be out. Goes a little something like this. Just in case you haven't heard it in a while. Hey. And just in case you really need to know. Just in case you haven't heard it in a while. Just in case you really need to know. Oh, I love you back. Hey, I love you. I love you. I love you back. Hey, I love you. I love you. I love you back. Hey, I love you. I love you. I love you back. All right. Love you, fam.